All right, in this video, we're going to talk about projection mapping. Now, there's a lot that's involved with this, so hang tight. It's going to be a pretty lengthy video, but you're going to learn a lot in this video. And it's an intricate process, so I'll probably screw up a couple times along the way. Don't worry. We're going to try to get through it. I'm going to show you how to not only just projection map, as they say, we're going to actually create a game model, this refrigerator. We're going to do it in a very weird, kind of awkward way, but it's going to be very precise and it's a lot of fun. And projection mapping has been used by visual effects artists for all kinds of different movies for years. It's a kind of an older technique at this point, but it's been around for some time. Even when I worked in a studio and I built low poly models all day, that's what we ended up doing a lot of times was projection mapping, and we had an automatic system to do it. It was pretty amazing, but that was in-house software. I don't have that now, so I can't do it, but it's pretty cool. And this is kind of, just something that you're going to have to wrap your head around. We're going to learn to model in perspective as well. So this is going to be cool. So if you were to come into a regular Blender scene and get the camera, press tilde key, you can actually go into that camera, click view camera. All projection mapping really is you are projecting a UV map onto an object. So if we were to take this cube, go to edit, press U, and just do a project from view, we'll end up with a UV, something like that. Now, not real fun to look at. It's kind of funky and wonky right now. I'm going to show you how to fix that, but sometimes that'll occur and it'll kind of frustrate you because you don't know what's really going on. It's to do with aspect ratios and all kinds of fun stuff. The way we're going to go about doing it, it's fixed off the bat, all right? So it's a lot of fun. Now, like I was saying, visual effects artists use this. You saw the refrigerator. Here's a little C17 kind of thing I did just as a demonstration real quick. So maybe in GR or in a video game, you might have a place that you can't actually go into, and you want the player to actually look into it, though. And instead of modeling all of it and spending forever doing that, you can model like the basics of it and kind of get it going. You can see how that works out. This is a real basic idea of projection mapping. This is modeled from a photograph, and as you can tell, it has a lot of stretching from the side, but from this view, you'd be a little hard pressed to tell what's going on in there and tell what's modeled and what's not, and it's all textured for the most part. I think I only did this ice chest cooler and this this part of this ramp, which is actually still visible behind it as well. But in game, this is cool. Maybe not so much Ghost Recon. I don't know how the Ghost Recon lighting system will handle it, but in newer games, you can add lights to where the lights are in the interior there, and now you got this kind of deal going on. And so you could even use this as backdrops. This is why the movie guys use it so much, because you could use this as you can do this to quite a bit of detail, and then just slowly kind of just pan in and out, and just create a real quick cinematic effect of a bunch of guys in an airplane or something, and blur those with camera blurs and all kinds of fun stuff like that. We're going to click new general scene. Now we're going to create that refrigerator. Now the way that we're going to do this is I already kind of got it set up, but we're going to go ahead and cancel it, and I'm going to redo it so you can see how I do it. It's a program called F-Spy. Okay, you can Google this. It's free. You download it. Perfectly okay to use. And it has an add-on for Blender as well. And I'm on Blender 2.92 now, or 2. I don't even know what I'm on. I'm on the newest version. What's today's date? 12/30/2020. So it's the newest version right now. It is. Good luck for me finding it. Whatever it is, it's that's what I got. 2.91. There it is in the bottom right. All right. So basically what this program does is you line up, you're trying to find a flat face. That's all you really need. Once you find that flat face, what it's going to do is it's going to tell you where the camera is positioned to take this photograph. It's pretty cool. It's a nice little program. So the way to start this off, I'm going to press open example project. It's going to reset my settings kind of to this example project. So you can start where I'm starting if you have to. Really what you want to do is open image and you're going to select something in perspective that has identifiable perspectives on it. So I could use what they had for that demo, which is this little rectangle mode that they got checked on. But you can also turn that off if you want. You don't have to use that. And then you'll see that your lines split out here. So 2 and 2 are going to be a pair, and 1 and 1 is going to be a pair. And they're going to be placed on different sides of things. I do like the rectangle mode though, so I'm going to turn it back on. Just wanted to mention that so you know how that works. The shift key when you're moving will move even slower and more precisely. You can line things up very quick and very well with that. So we're going to do that on these corners. Not every photograph is going to have clear identifiable lines to it. Refrigerator just happens to be an excellent example. You're going to struggle with other things in real life. So like if you have like brick walls where you can lay out something like this, that's great. Do that. But if you don't, you might run into some problems. Now, even though I did exactly what I needed to do with this, it's still saying invalid vanishing point configuration. There's just something slightly not working on it, and it needs to be tweaked a little bit. Okay, and so here's the trick. I know for a fact that this is lined up now. All right, this should be working, but it's not. There's something called the principal point. All right, and if I start moving this guy around, you'll see that sometimes things pop into view, sometimes they don't. And this little gizmo here kind of rotates around. It's really hard to line up the principal point, in my opinion. And the best way to do it is making sure you have a second perspective. So making sure that you're looking at something and it's going in two directions, basically. Like this face is completely flat going that way on Y, and then this other one is going down on X. And what you're going to do is switch from manual to third vanishing point. A lot of times this will clear this up super fast and quick, and you won't have any problems after this. Another little caveat, sometimes that happens, is that it doesn't like when you don't do long runs with these lines. So sometimes you might have to take your time and do some really long runs with them. And also laying them on top of one another at the corners like that can be a little bit annoying. But the more precise you are, the better odds you're going to get a great camera position. And it's going to tell you everything you need to know about where this is in relationship to this object, which is really cool. And it's going to place you like in X, Y values and Z's and all that. So we can see right now I got number 2 as negative Z. 1 is negative X. Let's change these to positive. Let's see what happens. Oh, they turn upside down like that. I'm not real sure how that's going to come in Blender, but let's just turn Z up and then Y. Okay, so we got it like that. The principal point was right there. That's where it automatically found it. Yeah, so trying to line that up just right and perfect is going to be pretty hard. So keep that in mind. You can turn on a 3D guide if you want. I don't think they're all that needed, but it should look like it's laying kind of over the model, except for this one. For some reason, it likes to come in wherever. I'm going to turn that off. I don't need it. So I'm going to save this. Just save it as perspective guide. This is going to help you so much in Blender, because now, if you were to go into this camera and you clicked view camera and you grabbed this cube and you started modeling it with that image in it, it's just not going to work well. So if I was to click camera settings here, I'm going to give you an idea real quick. Camera settings, background image, add image, open, and let's open that refrigerator again. We're going to click fit. And the way this works, look, if you were to start modeling, It's a nightmare. You have to like rotate the cube, and you got to get it just right, and it's really annoying. Or you could try to move the camera, and this kind of works sometimes. If you didn't have that other program, this would work, but it takes a little bit of practice and effort. You grab the camera and you select it. You press Shift tilde key, and you can fly around. You could do this number where you get everything just right. It's really hard though, and it'll frustrate you. So don't do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to click New, General. Don't save this. We're going to take everything and delete it. We're going to click File, Import, and FSpy plugin. I want to mention something. Edit Preferences. Go to the add-ons. And if you don't see the FSpy plugin, you just get a list. Make sure you click Community. Scroll down until you see Import, Export, Import FSpy Project. If you still don't see that, click Interface and turn on Developer Extras. Okay, and then save all that so you always have it for later, and then you're good to go. Now we can actually import the FSpy file, so we're going to do that. I got a few of them, huh? Looks like I've done this before. We're going to do the perspective guide, which is the one we just did. You can see it lays in like so. It looks pretty good. I'm going to press Shift A, create a plane, go into edit mode right away, and oh no, keep it in object mode for a second. Press Alt Z though, turn it into this. We want to line this plane up using, we're going to move using the axes here. You can see how they line up with the image now, which is really cool. But I want to line up this plane with something. Let's do the bottom here, so I can kind of gain my bearings here. Now I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to grab this edge here, and I'm going to move it on X to this corner. See how the corner there? So it's like we're looking through it. And same thing over here. So we got this corner now. Now I can actually move on Y as well. You see how cool that is? You can model in perspective. You can grab the whole polygon, press E, bring it up. Really cool. Let's do the bottom here as well. Let's just go all the way down. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind when you're modeling, make sure you are modeling in quads. Do not use triangles as much as possible. It is going to mess up the projection map. It's going to really screw it up. Trust me. You want to model in quads. And it's, so do basic objects and then model in quads. That's all I could say. Otherwise, you'll run into a lot of problems. So I'm going to cut out this little cup, this little drink area or whatever, where you get water nice. I'm going to cut it one more time. If you're going to put this in game, optimize it before you put it in game, but not as you're creating it. And this, I'm going to press E, and it's going to extrude in like so. You can see as I extrude it in, there's a little bit of, it's kind of going down. It may not be extruding the right way. So I'm going to right click, press G, and then Y. See if I have a little bit different of a result. No, it still did the same thing. So we're good with G and Y. Also, this camera, when you select it and you got your background image here, you can change it from depth from back to front. Sometimes that works a little bit better. You can change the amount there, grab the plane, go into edit mode. So you can see your wires a little bit better. That's always useful. A lot of times when you're creating things, though, you don't want to create new objects. So I'm going to press Shift A and create a cube and do it anyways. This is why, because when it comes in, sometimes it can be a little frustrating trying to figure out where this new object is in 3D space and how it works with the image. You can certainly spend some time realigning it. Fortunately, this cube's not too hard to do, but if I'm just to jump out here and go into perspective, you'll see where it's laid out at. So this actually needs to come out, and we're going to go back into perspective again, or to the camera. Try to work in the camera as much as possible. This back face, I'm going to invert this model. I'm going to bring it forward. And I'm going to make them about the depth of those handles. I'm going to press G, X, and I'm going to move it over. And I want to line it up with this image. You can zoom in on it. There's nothing wrong with that. Just try to figure out where you're at, what you're doing, and how you're going to make it. Okay. I'm going to press G and Z, move it up to about so. And same here down on the bottom, G and Z. I'm going to add a little bit of curvature to this. I'm going to do 2 loop cuts. I'm going to grab these edges, press G and Y, and move them in. Okay. They're moved in now a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And we should be pretty good on that. It's close. It's a little thick, huh? So something I personally might do is just grab it all, scale it, and then just slide it back into it a little bit. The trick here is when you're working outside of the camera, keep in mind that you still have the camera to deal with. So I'm going to move it precisely right there. Go into object mode, Shift D, X. I'm going to move it over. Shift D, right click, R, Y, 90. I'm going to flip it down. What I want to do with this one is just press G and Z and move it down. We're going to put it right here. GX. And you can tell this one's a little too big, but that's okay. We're going to go into edit mode. And because we had the thing modeled the way we did, we should probably just scale it on X here. And then move it into position. So yeah, now you know how to model in perspective, which is really cool. And we have this model made, which is really nice looking. Nothing is placed on it yet, though. We're going to do the proper way of projection mapping onto this and preparing it for game as well. So generally speaking, I'm just going to use the cursor selector and press C. We want to map like that section, and then we want to map all this as one section. Map the inside of that little cupboard or the little drink ice area, and map this, and then map that, and even map the bottom. And we're going to lay it out so that all the faces can be textured, no problem. Now you might not want to have a bottom if it's going into a game and it's just standing there. There's no need to texture the bottom, so just delete it. But we're going to UV map it anyways, just to be, you know, more thorough, I guess, or overly thorough. Oh, and these front pieces here, we don't need the back sides to them. And this can be a little tricky trying to select the right ones, but we don't need those back sides, so we can delete those faces. All right. Just like I said, the bottom, you don't really need it. We could delete those if we wanted as well. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do this. We're going to UV map every section. We're going to press U, unwrap. That's it. That's all we're doing. We're not even breaking it apart. We're just going to go straight through it, U, unwrap. Should be pretty simple and straightforward. So I don't got to select all that. Unselect that. U, unwrap. This one here is a little tricky. I want edges in these corners. So I'm going to press Control E and mark seam. That way I can select all of them real quick. I press U, unwrap, and I'll get that shape real quick. This piece here, you unwrap, you unwrap. We're just doing these one at a time. You unwrap. Make sure you're deselecting whatever you did last. That's all. I'm just clicking over here to the side real quick to do that. Unwrap. All right, so I'm going to grab all of it now. I'm going to click UV, average island scales. It should be fun. We're going to do pack island. Oh, I got to select it first. It's not doing nothing. I was sitting there looking at it like, why didn't it average anything? It should have done that. All right, so select it all first. Average island scales. Should have did that. And then pack islands. And we're going to actually just separate them a good bit for now. This is because I'm going to stitch it all together. You can see some of them came in upside down, some of them right side up. You would want to go through and check all that and make sure it's going to work just fine for you. What I want to do more than anything is I want this side here, which is the drink side. You can see that this is it. I'm going to press V. Oh, sorry, not V. I'm going to press, what is it? Stitch. Alt V. That was close. Alt V. And it's going to stitch the corresponding face to that. So I'm going to press enter. And you can see it moves it and it does like so. Pretty cool. It works. And I really like that because now what's going on is there's no seam in the front here. So I can do that on the other side as well. Alt V, enter. It's going to stitch it. All right, pretty cool. I like that. I can also do it on the back side. So Alt V, stitch it. Now this refrigerator is really getting there. You could connect the tops if you want, or you could just leave them kind of separated to have better utilization of the UV space. I'm going to leave them separated. I'm actually going to press R 90, and I'm just going to, you know what? Maybe not rotate these, because if we'll be all right. I don't want to rotate them because I have this feeling I'm going to make an atlas out of this. And so I want to probably occupy a quarter of this image field. But at the same time, you know, this is a perfect opportunity right here to flip it, stick it down here. This is awesome. It's going to save a lot of space, actually. Because if I create an atlas, I got this crammed into a corner like that. It's real nice. It's like a half a texture map. So I could put something else up top here. Maybe, I don't know, an oven or something. Something like that anyways. All right, now it's mapped. So this is our original map, UV map. Remember that, we're gonna need it, okay? Because what we're about to do is project onto it. Oh, we just did quite a bit of work. Let's go ahead and save this. So in case we have an issue, we can go ahead and load it back up. We'll call this fridge 2 if I can type. It's about to get real hairy here in a second. All right, so let's dive into it. We're going to create another UV map. We're going to bust that one out. We're going to call this projection map. All right. And on the projection map, it's not really too crazy. What we got to do is go to the, we could do this in the UV editing window. We're just going to go to, you can see we have two, make sure projection maps hit there. We're going to switch over to the camera. And in the camera, we're going to press U and we're going to hit project from view. And what ends up happening now is that even though it looks off and it looks weird, if we load up perspective guide .fspy, that's the image of the refrigerator. So now if we go into this view, we're going to click here and hit texture. And we're going to show, oh, we don't have a texture set up for it. Create a material. We're going to click new. And we're going to change base color to image texture real quick. And we're going to open that perspective guide FSPY real quick. You'll see that it does this number. This is how it looks. And we'll turn the grid off. This grid is kind of irrelevant, to be honest. The grid floor, all this is kind of irrelevant because we're modeling in perspective. But it looks a little shaky, right? This model will do that. And this is why you have to work in quads as well, because for whatever reason, when you use triangles, it likes to do this number. But when it does this just naturally, all you got to do is go to modifiers, add a subdivision surface modifier. Usually subdivision surface turns everything smooth, but you can click simple instead. Okay, and then bump it up a little bit, once or twice, and it'll come out looking much cleaner. So that is projection mapping in a nutshell. That's what that pretty much does. But we're going to actually go a little step further than that. And while I'm working, I'm going to bump those subdivisions down. I don't need that many. We'll just leave it at 1 for now. And we're going to texture paint on this, and we're going to make it look right and work right. So for the material, because, we did projection map. We see it works. The material, though, we're going to change it, and I'm going to open... go back up. I'm going to exit out of that. We're going to open up... we're not going to open up now. We're going to click New, and we're going to call this one Texture. Okay, and this is the one we're creating. Remember, make it a 1024 by 1024 image or 512 by 512. It has to be a power of 2 for the RSP files for Ghost Recon. And so we're going to do 1024 by 1024 for this. Oh, real quick, you know what we did not do? This is why it's good to check things before you continue on. Let's get rid of that modifier real quick. We forgot to UV map these guys. That could be a little bit of a problem. So we're going to go back to the UV editing window. We're going to go into just perspective for now. Get out of there. We need to make sure we're working on UV map, but also at the same time, I want to make sure this one's on UV map. I don't know if I combine these together if I press Control J. So I select them all, press Control J, combine them together. We should have UV map and projection map. Okay. Now we're going to go into edit mode. And this image, we can exit out of it when it's like that because it doesn't really matter. But we need to make sure that we map these guys real quick. And just like we did with the inside of that little interior section, we're going to quickly just select these edges. Alt Z, you can see through it. Makes selection a little bit quicker. Now, we're going to mark those as seams. These handles might deform a little bit. Oop, not all of it. I don't need all of it. I just need these ones. Press U, unwrap. Yeah, they deform a little bit. That's okay. We'll be all right with that. We do have to select the whole thing again, though. Press U, and then UV, average island scales, and lay it kind of back out again. What is breaking off here? What are these? Go back. Those are part of that. Why are they breaking off? Press M, merge by distance. Nothing is back together. Where are these at? You can turn on the UV sync, and that will let you know which part you're looking at. Why are they breaking off? I don't like that at all. They shouldn't be doing that. And what is this guy? Why is he breaking off too? Is that the back side of it? Oh, there's a polygon in the middle. All right, so we got to fix this. This is not good. Not good at all. All right, so we're going to press L, L, L. Shift H hide everything else. Let's delete that guy. No, just the faces. So if I delete the face, watch, it should just go away. There you go. I should have noticed that when I was laying it out the first time. Now I should be able to merge by distance and get rid of something, and it didn't. So let's try an unwrap again. Oh, they go back together now. All right, cool. I don't know how I did that, but I did apparently. All right, so Alt H, select everything. Don't hide it. We're going to press. It's not in the shortcuts there. Pack islands. Excuse me. Not pack islands. Average island scales. We're not going to pack it. We want to just pull it off to the side real quick. That way we can get in here and we can just start picking things. So L, we didn't rescale anything. But sure enough, it's acting like it was rescaled. Sorry, we did scale things. I'm just not paying attention. Averaging island scales rescales it. All right. We're just gonna lay it out for now. Just get this redone and over with. Take your time on this if you want. This is still a decent layout. There's nothing wrong with this. If we can fit all of these in here. And we're not going to be able to. So yeah, being a neat freak over this is certainly helpful if you want other people to texture this in Photoshop or something later. I'm gonna rotate those, I think, and just stack them here. Since there are a lot of Ghost Recon modders that like to retexture things, it's okay to be nice to them and do this, where you make everything nice and neat and organized. All right. I said it was going to get hairy. I didn't know it would get hairy like this. Okay. I think we're good now. We can actually go back to object mode, switch this back to projection map. This is where it gets real fun. Save this. Make sure it's saved, because we're probably going to have a crash or something in the middle of this, my luck. But we'll get through it, hopefully. So yeah, going back into view camera, projection map, go to edit, view, project from view, not view bounds, but just project from view. It'll do the right thing. Okay. We need to go into texture paint now. Texture paint is where all the magic's really going to happen, and it can be a little bit troublesome as well. And once again, this view, I want to get rid of the floor. Don't need the grid. Okay, and we're going to start texture painting this. As soon as I create a material for it, which I thought I did. Yeah, texture and perspective guide. So we're going to change. It's going to be on texture. We're going to leave that. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Let's go back to texture paint now. It looks like so. This is great. The options you're looking for are in this little tool panel here. Okay. You have to use that. If you press N over here, this doesn't have all the options. The top, you can't find all the options. At least I don't think you can. But we're going to do this in texture paint. I hardly ever work in the little 2D window there, but you certainly can if you want. So I'm going to make my 3D one a little bit bigger. And we're actually going to texture paint onto this model little by little as we go. And there's a little caveat to it. You're going to be switching between buttons quite a bit. All right. So if I remember everything here correctly, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the clone stamp brush, and we are going to clone from paint slot and the clone stamp brush. I think we have some brush settings here. Advanced. Okay. We're going to clone from paint slot. You can see the source clone slot is not there. It's only texture. So we're going to have to actually load in the texture. So we're going to click, I don't know if it'll load in right here. Where to try it? Click new, texture. Oh, no. We're on texture. That is not what I was expecting. I was expecting to be able to open this one and it switch away from texture. So let's not screw with that. Instead, let's go over here. We're going to open this image file, the JPEG file. We're not going to use that one that came in with that f.fspy. We're not going to use that one. I'm pretty sure we could, but it doesn't show up in the list, so it's a little bit hard to do that. But we should have a texture is the base color, so the clone stamp source clone slot. It's not showing up. Ooh, we're running into a little bit of a problem here. Just give me one moment. Yeah. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Here, check this out. Where it says material, we're not using materials. That's why it's not showing up. It's only one material. Click single image. All right. There we go. So now this top one is the texture slot. And we are going to use a single image. We're going to do UV map. We can actually switch this back over to texture. This shouldn't matter now. UV map linear. And now we should be able to go to brush settings, clone from paint source clone image. Yeah, we could use that FSPY image. So we'll try that one first, see what happens. And source clone UV map is projection map. Okay. Make sure it's projection map down here and it's using the right texture. And then it's UV map up here. And it's going to be using this texture file. Like so. If we did everything appropriately and correctly, I should be able to start just painting now and it should come up on the model. Yep, sure is. Oh, and then once again, you can see that UV or the model itself needs to be subdivided. And we're going to do that after we paint it real quick. I just want to get it started. So it's sort of like baking, but you're texturing at the same time. It's pretty cool. I tried this on a EOTech, which if you don't know what that is, it's a weapon site. If I had better pictures of the EOTech, I mean the pictures were great, but I couldn't line them up real well. And I was able to like paint from one direction and then paint from another direction, all from photographs, which is super cool, by the way. If you set that up, and I was gonna redo that, but I didn't. Oh, this model, yeah. Let's go ahead and just add the subdivision, simple, and bump it up a couple times. You can see it's a little rough still, so we're gonna go back to texture paint real quick. And we're gonna make sure the settings are the same here. They like to switch on you if you're not careful, and so Now that I changed it so that's more subdivided, you can see it cleans up a lot nicer. Um, and I like that. I like that, and people like that look at models. So, and I'm going to do it all the way around, even on the inside here. Make this brush bigger so we can just get more done quicker. You'll notice on the back side, the top, the bottom, and all that, I'm going to leave the bottom black just because I don't have a texture to put down there, but you can get this laid in pretty quick, looking pretty good. It's not too bad. This clone stamp tool we'll go around with later, and we'll do little sections like that. But because we were working off this image, and it was only this side of it, we don't really have any options to do much more with this model other than these two faces. However, because I am who I am, and I do want to make a good model, what I would normally do is I would copy this in Photoshop and I would paste it over here. And I'm going to do that for sure. Probably not in this video, but more than likely that's what I'll end up doing. But the back side, I wanted to use a different image that I had. And so we can project from that as well. So if we go to, you can see we're in projection map right now. As we're working and we switch images and stuff, save this image. Save this as texture.png on your desktop or whatever you got to save it as. Save it as you progress, because sometimes when you're switching images around and stuff, it likes to disappear and it'll go back to black. So save it as you work. Specifically, anytime you're going to change these settings around quite a bit. All right, and I'm about to do that because I am changing this from perspective guide to a new image, which is not even in here, and I can't even load it because of that. So I'm gonna have to go over here and click open, and we're gonna load up this back texture here. Okay, and this is kind of fun because what's about to happen is completely insane, but we're going to go back to object mode. We're going to select, okay, it stayed, good. We're going to select the UV map, make sure it's on projection map, switch it back. You'll see that the front changed, that's fine. We're going to more or less, we're going to project, we're going to go to the camera. We know the camera is over here on the front, but I want to put something on this side, and I need to line that image up with it. There's a couple ways we could do this. Let's just UV map it real quick to that image. So we're gonna instead of just using projection map, no, we'll keep using projection map. We'll just call it. We'll do it on projection map. We'll select it. We got all of it selected. We'll press. We'll even view this flat. Kind of right behind it. Just press U. Unwrap. Oh, you know what? U, project from view. Why is it doing it from the camera still? It should be doing it right now. So we'll try cube projection. What is going on here? Oh, I got the sides. No. This should have been working. Oh, we're in texture paint. That's why it's doing that. Yeah, so we're gonna swap this image over to texture, not texture. Sorry, um, the new image there. And I'm not worried about anything crazy with this. I just want to get it placed close enough to the edges. We could projection map this. I mean, there's no reason we couldn't, but we'd have to move the camera around and all that fun stuff. Um, I mean, maybe we could just throw in a background image into this viewport. I mean, that would technically work. But at the end of the day, it's kind of the same thing as this. This is why I said it's kind of like baking. Uh, it almost feels like you're baking, to be honest. And it's probably a way to do this where you do bake it. That's a lot nicer. So don't ever count out baking. Baking's awesome. We're gonna do a one. Oh, turn on proportional editing, and you can shift most of this model around at the same time. It's pretty cool. Why is it not decent? Oh, because we have this guy. I'll turn that off. I only want these faces. That's why everything keeps popping up. There we go. I only want these. Yeah, so we could line this up in a different camera if we wanted, but there's no real point, in my opinion. You see how we're doing like the curve? What we could do is, if it's in here somewhere, change it to linear, and that'll make it look a little more straight. So as we move it around, it kind of skews it appropriately. Some good old UV mapping experience there. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller so that it doesn't affect these other sides too much. Okay, and this one can come over. Perfect. There we go. So now, once again, we can go to texture paint here. Go back into object mode. You can see everything looks goofy and messed up. That's okay. Not a big deal. It's in wireframe, actually. So we're going to go back to solid mode. Everything's messed up. We're going to click UV map and go back to that. Real quick. You do want to go back to your settings. Make sure you're in texture paint mode. You want to make sure that it says texture UV map, and then it says source clone is going to be that new image. Okay, and it's going to be projection map still. And so what we can do now is we can come in here and we can actually paint. Now, if I start painting right now to actually replace what we've already done, that could be a little bit of a problem. So, you know, sometimes things like that can be a little bit annoying. Breaking your model apart so it doesn't do that can be beneficial, just so you know. Or just make sure you get it just right and you texture paint there. So we'll try getting it just right. Let's see if we screwed up the other side real quick. That looks upside down to me. What do you think? Looks upside down to you? All right, so we did that wrong. Yeah. All right, let's go back to UV editing real quick. Go into edit. I should have paid attention to that, but oh, we're not doing. We're doing projection map. We're not editing that one, so now we can just select these real quick. It is upside down, so let's rotate it 180 degrees. I can type 180. We're still going to use proportional editing. We're going to try to, you know what, let's press U, unwrap, or project from view. It doesn't matter. And we're going to move it over. Just going to try to get these sides right real quick. Make it a little bit bigger so everything kind of drags with it. Holding shift, by the way, to nudge things together a little bit more. So that, you know, I'm gonna make that one a little bit smaller so it doesn't affect that corner. Okay. So this is kind of like projection mapping. It's basically the same thing almost. I'll select all of those and just drag them over. Really can't do that. I can select some of them and drag them over, but not all. I want to get as much of that texture in there as possible. These two are just going to keep playing off each other and bring that circle down. And so okay, turn proportional editor off a second. There we go. Good for you, it's good for me. Alright, go into object mode. Go back to texture paint mode. And we're going to change it from texture to, or UV map, or projection map to UV map. You can see that even though we painted that before, it's gone back the way it was. That happens, it happens. You have to save them. Make sure it's a clone source. Using that one, projection map. So we're going to do it from this side now. And it should work. Hopefully don't run into any issues. So how did that work out? Did it color any of these sides? No, it didn't. All right, cool. Worked out pretty good. I colored that side a little bit by accident. All right. Yeah, so that worked out now. We have a fridge made. It's working. You know, you would have to clone this side from this side. And that would probably be pretty challenging to do in Blender, I imagine. It just doesn't seem like it's the easiest thing. Could you projection map it? Potentially. Realistically, what I really kind of want to do. Oh, save this texture before you move on it and do anything. Just completely override it and save it again. All right. So nonetheless, we'll fix that in Photoshop. Let's finish the model though before we get there for the most part. No, actually, let's just save the image real quick. Go to Photoshop right now. All right, so we're actually in Photoshop now, which is great. What I want to do is snag that texture real quick. And I want to Control V, paste it, Control C, Control V. Now I'm going to flip it horizontally. I'm just going to drag it over there. Put it right on that seam. You see where it's real bright? We're just going to barely knock that out. Yeah, like that. Perfect. Save it. Now watch this. And it's not updated in here because we got to reopen it, but we're going to reopen it real quick. Look at that. Great success, right? So yeah, that's probably the better way to do it. If you want them to be the same, but so you could put little decals on this side and decals on this side now. So if you wanted like a little calendar or something, or you know how people do the fridges, that's how you got to do it. But we can go a little step further than that. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. We're gonna go back to Photoshop. We have to do the top of the fridge. The way I would personally do it is just UV mapping it somewhere kind of basic, like on the sides here. but because we did do it the way we're doing it right now, I'm going to use texture paint. But we're not going to use the clone stamp tool the way we've been using it. We're going to be using um, an actual clone source, which is going to be the model itself. So we're not going to clone from paint anymore. We're done with that. We're going to go up here. We're going to actually clone right here, this middle section. So hold Control and click, and it's going to move the cursor. That's fine. I want to turn off specular lighting. That kind of annoys me. And so cloning from source. And sometimes it can be a little bit painful to do this, but a lot of times you can get it going too. And I'll flip it around to the other side. You can see I moved too far. Right. And so, nothing real fancy, but it's there. You can do clicks instead. You don't have to do all that. Try not to paint down on the sides like I just did. All right. Now, one of the hardest things to mimic is a straight line going across the top. It's actually better to do it in Photoshop. It's really hard to do that in Blender. So what I'm going to do is grab... Oh, before we do anything, exit that image. What you got to do is save it. Save it. If Photoshop has it open, it might not save. So it's kind of a little back and forth. Like I said, this kind of it irks me a little bit sometimes. It's cool when it's cool, but sometimes it ain't so cool. And you just got to get used to it, I guess. So I want this here on the front of the fridge, on the top, where the door is. I actually want this little section too, a little black section in the middle. We'll put that in manually, but so I got to rotate this 90 degrees clockwise. I don't know which side's the front. Let's try here first. Just gonna save it. It's a PNG file, so I gotta select it every time. Go to Blender here and open it real quick. Oh, we're close. Look, we gotta back it up a little bit. I'm gonna hold Shift and just drag it out. I'm gonna press E, S. Ooh, it didn't even do it? Okay. I guess you can't do that either. Told you we were gonna make some mistakes in this. Or I was gonna make some mistakes, not you necessarily. It's close. This is kind of like the manual way of just checking things and doing it, I guess. It's nice when you can just click Control S and go back and forth. And if Blender would actually automatically reload stuff, that'd be great too. So it's just maybe a bump forward. That's it. I think we're done after that. For that piece anyways. Then we gotta line up the middle. All right. No, no, no. Don't create a new one. Oh, one more? Really? I thought I did 2 down last time. Well, 2 down that one time. This is why I like PSD files. It's a lot easier. I'm about to switch to a PSD file if this continues. So it's pretty good. It needs to stretch forward a little too. Just a little bit. Tiny bit. Maybe back it up one. So normally you just press Control S. But All right. Let's check it. Oh, back forward again. We're going to knock out the back side of this too while we're at it. This, we're going, if you're not going for perfect precision, this goes a lot quicker. So, yeah. This is just how I do things sometimes. Wow, I could still move it forward again. This is good though. That means I think I got it the right size now. All right, look at the door doing that number. Here's the trick. I'm not doing all that anymore. that's that's annoying trying to sit there and do all that. So instead what I'm going to do here is this is just black. So I mean, I can literally color sample it by just pressing control and clicking. I think that's the color sample, right? Yeah. I want to change the strength down. I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger. Color sample to black. I just want to create the effect of that going up. Make it a little bit smaller. Blend them together. Color sample the black here, make it smaller. I guess I had the gray before. Nobody would know. That's it. That's all it took. Um, have fun with it. Do what you want to do, but at the end of the day, don't be afraid to get in here and get a little dirty with it. So I like this color here. I think I'm gonna use it. Bump up my strength a little bit. Oh, we're using clone stamp still. I meant to be using the draw tool. I thought I selected it. No, I was gonna say the color picker wasn't Control C. It's what is it? There's another button for it. I know there's another button for it. What is it though? Where's the little sampler thing? The eyedropper. Sorry, I'm really confused as to what the hotkey was for that and where my buttons went. Hold on a second. Yeah, this is why you gotta love Google because it's S of all keys. You just press S. Super convenient though. I'll give them that. Yeah, so you can come in here and you can start painting away and doing whatever you want. It's completely on you. I like this color here too, so I'm gonna sample it and just kind of work it into my picture here. Oh, it's the same color. How about that? Let's make this a little bigger. You can always modify your brushes as well. Get really tricky with them. I want this gray color up under here. You want to be careful not to go off the edges. There's a little setting here somewhere for that. I'm trying to think of it. I'm probably gonna have to go Google it, but I know it's somewhere right here. Oh, here under fall off. It wasn't fall off. It's at 80, it's set at 80 degrees right now. So you can actually set this really low. So if it's like 25 degrees, watch this. Like if I'm painting over here, it's still doing it. Let's try it again. Let's try like 5. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so see, I can adjust that, especially on these low poly models, and I can paint as long as it's not tilted at 5 degrees, it won't paint on it. So, um, like you can see, it's not painting right now on that. If I tilt it, it might be a little too high now, but it won't paint on the other surface, but it'll paint on the bottom here. That strength is so low. You see, it's not painting on any other face. Just that one. Why is this so weak? What's going on with that? Maybe that angle is very more important than I thought. Or that fall off. So let's try 10. Yeah, I guess the fall off if you set it too low is no good. Because it's still blending into other faces a little bit. It's just not very much. It's really weird. I didn't know I did that, but sure. Not sure how it chooses to do things like that, but sure. Yeah, so you can just come in and kind of touch on things a little bit. Maybe change it back to like a black or something if need be. Let's do that fall off again. Let's change it to 20. See how it wants to work now. Yeah, there you go. Look. It's weaker. It's kind of cool because now you can do some weird things with it, like from the side. Pretty neat, huh? Let's bump it down more. Go straight to this side. See what happens. I like that. Maybe not that strong, but I mean, in theory, it's not bad. You do like an ambient occlusion almost with that. Do a lot of shading. Yeah, not bad at all. Goofing things up in there though. Let's color sample this one. Go back in here. Yeah, that fall off setting's something else, man. I like it. Turn the strength back down now. A little bit of a balancing act, huh? I don't usually use texture paint, so I'm kind of goofing off right now. Wasting your time probably, but it's okay. Not many people watch these videos anyways, I don't think. So I want it on both of them. There we go. And I want it real faint. I'll work up to that corner. Oh, the one part of the fridge there, the handle. All right, so yeah, it looks a little bit better. We're not gonna spend that much time on it. Um, the main idea is just to get things done quick and easy. Like this area, You might want to retouch it a little bit. I'm going to use the blur tool here, actually. Come in here and just blur it. You ain't got all day for all that. It needs to look like it's a shadow. You can blur that one too. Oh, these background sections, check this out. All we need is the clone stamp. Make it smaller a little bit. We're going to clone stamp right here. And we're going to start right next to it and then just go. Oh, you can change the, for this, you can change the stroke from space to line. Watch this. Bam, just like that. You can start erasing things. But you got to start from the bottom and go to the top, or it doesn't work good. I'm going to make this one super small. Same kind of a deal. I'm going to start right around there. We're going to do it all the way up. It's just going to erase that a little bit. And we'll do it right here as well. Yeah, so you can work all those out real quick. Clone stamp in 3D. That's the way to do it right there. I like this one, but I don't want to overdo it either. I want it right on that tip. A little bit. Yeah, so something like that. Let's get that blur brush going again. Make it bigger. Let's give it a pass or two. Cool. We'll even blur that a little. We can come in and blur some of this on that edge. All right, good enough for me. Probably good enough for you. I think we're done. So yeah, projection mapping can be useful. Is it the most useful thing? I don't. Sometimes I question that. But you can't argue with the accuracy. Like, it's really a methodical way of replicating precision. So if you really took your time with like a high resolution model for something, I think if you are using it for visual effects, it might be really useful, especially for like distant objects or things only viewed from one angle. But for doing a whole model, useful, yes. Best of the world, I don't think so. So this image texture, you can save it again. I guess you can leave it open. I know I said you couldn't earlier, but this model, though, we're going to duplicate it. Bring it on out. This one we are going to optimize real quick. I want to just show you that. You don't need the subdivision surface after it's mapped for whatever reason. Whatever, it works. Everything here is still modeled accordingly. So you can see that it is, it's a pretty clean model. Why is it rotating around my 3D cursor? Oh, you know what? Let's go to layout. That might just, I really don't know. Why is it doing that? There's an option for it, I think. Should be viewing there what I select. Okay. I don't know why it was doing that, but something to do with texture paint, I think. Nonetheless, we can optimize this now. And so we know we don't need this edge. We can dissolve it. This edge we do need. This one we don't need. This one we kind of need. These can be pushed. So if I press G twice, I can slide things around, and it won't mess up the texture for the most part. It kind of shifts it around a little bit, but nothing as bad as like when we started. And that's fine. And then this here you can actually bring down. This one here you can bring up. Same with these side ones. So this model is like super efficient, by the way. So when you take all that and you merge it together, voila, we now have a professional made fridge, and it is looking sweet. What I like to do last is come down here, press Shift S cursor to selected in edit mode. Okay, I'm gonna set my origin point to that. Set origin to geometry. Press the N key, bring out the N panel. This is going to be the time you want to apply your scale and rotation. And if I was to apply location, it would kind of mess everything up. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to just hover over this and press delete. And it centers this fridge right in the center of the scene. Now this is my perspective fridge. I'm going to leave it here just in case for now. And then game fridge. Now we can take these two, perspective fridge and perspective fridge camera, and hide them so we don't touch them by accident. Center back up here. Shift S cursor to world origin, and you'll see that it does this number. The world origin, let's turn on the grid real quick. We'll talk about this. When you're putting props in GR, if you're going to manually place them using Blender or using 3ds Max 5, it's best to set your prop up for that purpose. So Shift S, cursor to selected. You remember how we did this earlier? It didn't seem to remember to do that appropriately, apparently. So we're going to do object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. Origin to 3D cursor. And the origin is not changing. M, merge by distance. Why do we have hard edges on it too? Okay, if you ever have hard edges, press Control E, clear seam, or not clear seams. Control E, clear sharp from vertices, clear sharp from vertices. Yeah. Merge them by distance. Shift S, cursor is selected. No, Shift S, cursor to down here. Shift S, cursor to selected. Object, set origin, origin to geometry. And it is not moving. Let's do Control A, apply all transforms. And then let's try this again. Object, set origin to geometry, to origin to 3D cursor. Have I been clicking geometry the whole time? Man, I swear. Yeah, so now that's done, we can come over here and just press backspace, and we can set it up like so. Shift S, cursor to world origin. Yes, there we go. Now we have it completely placed right. This is fridge 2. I'm actually going to use this if I make a level with fridge. I think it's pretty awesome, and I really like it. Turn that specular lighting off. You want to have a little fun with it, you can take your material and you can make it a little bit metallic. Turn it into a shading view here so you can see the effects of that. So you can kind of see what's going on. You can also bump the roughness down a little bit, make it look reflective. This is just for Blender. You can't do this in GR. But if GR would let you do this kind of stuff, it'd be awesome. Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet to have PBR textures in GR. Nonetheless, it looks cool. You could right click shade smooth. It's going to look a little bit funky because of the triangles in it, but that's with that. It's going to look pretty okay fine like this. You can also apply the auto smooth to it. So click the little green triangle and then do auto smooth. You know, it'll look a little nicer, but it won't be too crazy either. All right. I think we are done. That was a lot of process for not a lot of result, huh? It's still making one fridge in the time that it took us to make that, plus me explaining all of it. It's not too bad. It's really not that bad, because to get that accuracy, to be able to line everything up the way we just did, doing it all the way we did the top here, just line of sight, line by line, little by little, it takes forever. And you can see I still got it wrong on the one side here. It's wrong. The other side's fine. Now I'd have to figure out how to fix that, you know. This is the texture I placed in. So maybe, did I flatten it? Oh, I did flatten it. So I just have to redo it, basically. Yeah, that's projection mapping in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, this thing is cool, to be honest, being able to model. I think the best part of this whole process is being able to model in 3D like this. I think it's awesome, because you don't have to worry about nothing. Like, you can just come in and, like, oh, I want to make this fridge. Voila, you made the fridge, and now you've extracted the textures by projecting, mapping it, and then transferring it. It's a lot of process to that, but you know, it's really cool to finally get it done. On one hand, this is a clip of this side right here. I like it personally. I like to think this is a little cutout where the it makes it a little wider, so you can put like a bigger cup in there or something. Pretty neat, man. Now you just got to rough it up. If you wanted to rough it up, you can add rust to it or whatever else, or chip paint, chips on it. And you'd have a dirty fridge at that point. Add little grease stains and marks all over it. Take your time with texturing. It's really, that's what makes the believability of any model, in my opinion. Like, GR is still a fun game to play, and it's believable to some degree, because it doesn't matter how detailed the model, or it doesn't matter like how basic the models are, but it matters like that they still look like what they're supposed to look like, and it's believable that that's what it is. If it was made wrong, nobody would believe it. Nobody would really care about that game, right? Fantasyland games are cool, but at the end of the day, those realism games can always be believable if there's a refrigerator that exists, you know. Nonetheless, that's it for this one. It was a long one. I am so sorry you had to watch all of this. And I know I screwed up a couple times, but you know, things happen, man. Don't ever think these people that make tutorials, they do them soundly. All right, I like to do them in one shot, so I don't have to edit the videos usually, and I do press the pause button, pause recording quite a bit, but you can see I've done this before. I've done the fridge maybe 3 times before, and I still run into problems along the way. It just is what it is. Like, every time you create something, you're gonna almost always have to overcome like some small obstacle or something. Oh, one last thing I think would be really cool. I'm just sitting here looking at it right now. Is this little guy. You know, maybe not for GR, this ain't cool, but for Blender, you could cut that and then press Alt E and do extrude manifold and push it in. Look at that. Extrude manifold's real cool because it cuts the face on the back side. And I don't even think it messes up the polygons or anything, the vertices on it. Look how cool that looks now. Just a little added detail, man. This fridge comes to life, man. You could add cuts for these if you were doing this for a next gen game. You can add some cuts, make the doors look like they're actual doors, and this little cut down. Um, yeah, you could do a lot. Have a lot of fun with it. Anyways, once again, thanks for watching. Till the next one. It's a lot more I probably need to talk about, but for now, this is it. All right, see you in the next one.